Now this is eternal life, that they know you, the only true God, and Jesus Christ, whom you have sent. John has already told you all this about Jesus before he got to John 17. Do you now expect John to think that you're going to assume that what Jesus says means to exclude him from being one with the Father and therefore God like the Father is? So John 17 does not mean the Father's only true God to the exclusion of the Son and the Spirit. He's the only true God to the exclusion of all these other gods and goddesses, but I happen to be one with him as a spirit is. And therefore, if Jesus is that Word who is God, of the Father, used to create all things and give life to all things, who's one with the Father in the Father's power and ability to preserve believers, then you better believe he's not excluding himself. So first of all, if Jesus is going to glorify the Father for who he is, what I'm asking you is when he wants to acknowledge who the Father is, if he's the only true God, what do you want Jesus to say that he's not the only true God? What in that statement of Jesus would imply that if he acknowledges a Father for who he truly is, that means that excludes the Son and the Spirit, when the Father is only true God, and yet he's only true God, not in isolation from the Son and Spirit, but in union with the Son and the Spirit. Because this is the same author who recorded Jesus' word, John 17, that already told you in the beginning in John 1 that Jesus himself is God. So my question to you would be, if John already started the gospel in John 1, not in John 17, the John 17, is that the start of the gospel or is that near the end? So now, if I were to start at John 1 and I work my way to John 17, John told me that Jesus was that Word who was with God before the creation of all things and was with God as God. So now my question is, since John already told me that Word is God, if there's only one true God, so what kind of God would he have to be?
He would have to be the true God.
So then, John doesn't want you to take John 17:3 out of context and ignore everything else. He's already told you before you get to John 17, that Word who became flesh is that Word that was there in eternity before creation with God and existed as God, and he's the one who creates all things and gives life. Well, how many gods created all things and give life?
One.
And if the Word is that one God whom the Father used to create all things and give life, then what kind of God must the Word be?
A true God.
Do you think John wants me to understand John 17:3 in light of all that he said before he came to John 17?
Yeah.
So right before I got to John 17, here he told me John 1, this is the Word who is God, whom the Father used to create everything, give life to everything. Last time I checked, the one who created all things and gives life to all things is the only true God.